Welcome back everyone, hope you're doing well today. Today's video is going to talk about everything that you can find within MLB The Show. Now we're going to be looking at the screen for MLB The Show 18, but it's going to tell you everything that you can find in 19 as well. I wanted to make this video before MLB 19 came out so that if you were thinking about getting MLB 19, you'd be able to have all the information and not fall behind once the game is released. And if you're new to the MLB The Show franchise, MLB 19 is going to be a great time to start. This year has had a huge focus on offline game modes, including 2 brand new ones, and it can give you a fulfilling baseball experience without ever having to compete online. So my goal with this video is to introduce you to every game mode in the game along with some tips to get started in each of them. And at the end of the video, I'll also discuss some of the cool features that help enhance the game experience, as well as touch on the best settings to use, which will be elaborated on in my next video on how to win games online. So we're here in the main menu, and we'll go ahead and skip this screen for now, but we'll go into this screen right here with all of the mini modes. A lot of these mini modes are just quick experiences that you can have fun with, but also they're a good place to practice. So retro mode is a game where you can play with old school graphics and controls, so it's a little bit easier to play, and if you've played some of the older games on maybe PS1 or some older systems, you'll probably have a good time playing this retro mode. Challenge of the Week is a 1 versus 1 competition versus the CPU pitcher to earn rewards for placing on the leaderboard. The top 100 in MLB 19 will earn stubs and digital rewards, and the top score every week earns signed memorabilia from real life players. To play Challenge of the Week, you jump in and all you do is you earn a distance multiplier by taking balls and making hard contact. That multiplier is multiplied by the distance of every swing, and you get a score based on that, and it keeps going until you make 3 outs and swing and miss to make those outs. In my opinion, once you get to an intermediate level, this is one of the best ways to practice hitting in the game. You're going to see all kinds of different pitches, they're going to be rapid fire one right after the next, so all of your time is spent just hitting the baseball. Custom practice mode is also available, where you can play in real game customizable situations, so you can choose the batter, pitcher, count, etc., and you can have it repeat, so if you want to just practice one specific thing, it goes on and on. Some people have had issues with custom practice where maybe you see way too many fastballs and it's a little bit unrealistic, so that's why I recommend Challenge of the Week if you're trying to practice hitting, but it's a good place to play offline and kind of test some specific situations. Now before you even get into custom practice, you can try Options Explorer, which is a great way to start out because it's focused on letting you test the best settings for you, and it's a good place to jump in for the first time if you really have no idea where to start. And of course we have Home Run Derby, which you can play online or offline. All you do is you hit as many home runs as you can in the given time. The pitch speeds are way slower, and you'll be able to hit them a lot more easier than maybe in the regular game. It's a great place for beginners to learn the mechanics of the game. So swing timing and all those kind of things, pitch timing and locations, you can kind of learn from Home Run Derby at a very slow pace. It's also a good place to try out your new hitting settings if you're messing with any of the mechanics or the cameras. And you can also create a private lobby with your friends if you just want to play one-on-one, or if you have a few friends that just want to play Home Run Derby, you can do that privately. And finally, in the mini modes, you can also play a postseason mode, where you can experience the most exciting part about baseball without the slow grind of the season. You can customize what teams are in there, you can customize a few settings, and it's a little bit more watered down version of franchise where you can't really do roster moves, but obviously you're playing the playoffs, the most exciting part, and it's a little bit of a tournament right there. Postseason mode is only an offline mode, so you can't do custom tournaments or anything like that in this mode. So right now we'll go back to this screen right here, which is the play screen. And next year, there will also be a couple new modes in here. So first of all is March to October. They've been talking about it the last couple of weeks. It's a brand new mode in between postseason and franchise, so you kind of get a hybrid going on there. You get to play key moments of the season to earn momentum for simulated games. And it takes about 15 to 20 hours to play a full season plus the playoffs. And in this mode, if you win the World Series, you can earn rewards for other modes. March to October is also connected to Diamond Dynasty, which we'll talk about a little bit today, and we will go much deeper into it in a future video. And the second new game mode for 2019, which is not on the screen obviously because this is 2018, is called Moments. And in Moments, you get to jump into pre-made moments in history to replay them or rewrite them. So you get to experience the what-ifs of fantasy moments, and you'll also be able to play the biggest and coolest moments as they happen in 2019, and they're created with their own moments from SDS. And you can do collections of these moments to earn rewards for Diamond Dynasty, especially really cool cards, and again we'll talk about that more in the Diamond Dynasty section. And if you want more information on a couple of these new modes, make sure to check out some of the videos I'll have linked in the description and in the cards, because there's a lot of good information out there, which I'm just not going to be covering in detail in this video. And now here we'll get into the modes that are shown on the screen. So first of all, play now. You can do a standard exhibition against the CPU or a second user sitting next to you on the couch, and you can choose to use daily matchups from real life if you'd like, and it'll kind of put in whoever's pitching that day and whoever's in the lineup based on real life information from the MLB. And if you're not trying to play against the CPU, if you want to play online in a more competitive mode, you can go to Online Rated, where you use live rosters as well. It's the less popular competitive mode, but it's good for people that don't have the time to grind out and build squads in Diamond Dynasty. And there's also a leaderboard where you can check out how you stack up against the rest of the world. Now, there is a way for you to play with your friends in the show. It's not really listed here, but if you want to play against someone on your friends list, all you have to do is hit the touchpad on your controller, and the screen will pop up right here. You go up to your friends list, and you can pick someone's name, click on it, and send them a challenge. Invite them to an exhibition game, and choose your settings, and they will receive a challenge right here in the game challenges section. And once they accept the challenge, you'll be able to play. It's not necessarily something that you can see, so I wanted to make sure that I threw that in there. Now, franchise is one of the big modes within MLB The Show. So basically, you get to be the GM of a team or multiple teams, but you still get to play or manage individual games, or you can simulate them. So you can do a wide range of things in this mode. In this mode, you can make trades, hire coaches, scout players, assign training, draft, do free agency, build lineups, play games. Everything you want out of the full baseball experience mode is going to be in franchise. There are a couple limitations of this mode that a lot of people want, including being able to trade cash, more than 3 players on a side of a trade, creating your own team, and also creating your own stadium. Those things are not in the game for MLB 19, but it is on the wish list for a lot of hardcore franchise fans, so look for that in future years. If you don't like the current rosters before you create a franchise save file, you can import rosters from a save file, which we will get into later in the video. You can also edit player attributes in the Manage Roster section, and the quick menu on the front page will tell you what important events are coming up. New to MLB 19 will also include player contracts from real life, as well as contract extensions. And those extensions will also be available around the trade deadline and in the off season. So make sure to keep an eye on this page to see when they're coming up. You can also customize how much of the GM and manager roles you want to control before starting the mode or on the fly. As you can see right here on the top left, when you hit square, it goes from manual to automatic. There's a few of those throughout the mode, so you can change how much you want to be doing yourself as the mode goes on. You can also bring a save file from a previous year into the next. So in 18, you could bring a save file from 17, and in 19, you'll be able to bring it from 18. So if you started a save file at the end of a certain year, then it will still be available for you to bring onto next year without having to switch back and forth between 18 and 19. So franchise lets you do a lot of different things, but if you want just a little bit more of a tighter experience, you can go into Road to the Show, where you're just playing as one player. But keep in mind, between 18 and 19, there are a lot of new differences for this mode, so make sure to check out this video right here, and it'll show you everything that's new in Road to the Show. So in Road to the Show, you create your player, you determine your archetype, choose your personality, get drafted, and join the minors. And the end goal, of course, is to become a superstar in the major leagues. In the meantime, you build relationships to earn additional challenges, increase bonuses, and determine your personality, and your personality will determine in-game perks. In this mode, you can also play some training to max out your rating caps and try to get everything to a 99 overall. And the way you improve your ratings is by performing well in games. This year, you'll also be given dynamic challenges for additional boosts in-game, and you can face off with bosses for even bigger rewards. This mode doesn't really give you many rewards for any outside play, but you will gain XP, which will be useful for your Diamond Dynasty. And finally, you can use stubs to buy equipment for your player and boost their ratings, but as in the last couple years, you are not able to use stubs to buy training points, as you were able to do in MLB 17. Road to the Show is actually the most popular mode in MLB The Show, and personally I find it to be the most addicting mode for an offline mode. And the final game mode that we have in here is called Diamond Dynasty. And Diamond Dynasty technically is just one mode, but in reality it has many modes within it. You'll find that a lot of MLB The Show 19 in general kind of funnels towards Diamond Dynasty, so a lot of the rewards that you get, the XP that you get, they all kind of work towards Diamond Dynasty, so it's kind of the culmination of your entire experience. And what you try to do in Diamond Dynasty is to collect the best cards to use in the most competitive online mode in the show, which is Ranked Seasons. There's also a Battle Royale mode where you play 3 innings with a 25-man solo draft to earn rewards for win streaks. You can also play events, which is similar to Battle Royale, but you use roster building challenges from your own squad, and you earn rewards based on that. Events are generally a very good way to earn some of the best cards in the game, no matter what your skill level is, but at the same time, take some online challenges. You can also do solo missions that will earn you better cards, and this year it's going to be incorporated with March to October and especially moments, so keep an eye out for that. We're not exactly sure how tight those integrations are going to be, but it should be a lot better as opposed to 18 where we were spending a lot of time playing against the CPU on Rookie, so another reason why MLB 19 is a great place to start off. Diamond Dynasty also includes a game mode called Conquest, which is kind of like Risk, the board game, to complete some missions. But like I said, much more about Diamond Dynasty will be in a video soon after release. I just wanted to touch on it so that you know what goes on in this mode. So now let's get into some of the best settings for the game. So hitting difficulty will be totally up to you, whatever you feel comfortable with. There's a beginner mode, dynamic, and rookie, which will all kind of be similar, but beginner will give you some more tips, and dynamic will increase the difficulty as you keep playing and as you start doing better at the game. What I want to talk about is some of the hitting interfaces and the inputs. So the end goal is to always be able to play on zone if you're trying to be competitive online. You should also be using buttons because they're much quicker than the analog, but sometimes zone is a little hard to jump into at the very beginning of your playing experience. And if you've never played any kind of shooter or very many video games at all, you might want to start with directional with the camera shift off, or you could do pure analog with flick. This will help you get used to pitch timings and seeing how pitches move without having to use the coordination of both sticks. But zone hitting is what gives you the most control, and at the top levels, it's almost necessary to use. But if you struggle to hit with zone, go ahead and use directional or analog at the beginning. It'll help you to start out. And now the PCI appearance is kind of up to you. I like wedge because it doesn't obscure the top of the zone, but a lot of people like to use outline and reticle as well. And now another important thing is the camera for which you hit. Strike zone is probably the most popular, especially at the highest levels of competition, but strike zone 2 and sometimes strike zone offset are also popular. So try to mess around with that, but the closer you are, usually the better it is for you to control the zone. Some of the rest of this stuff is a little bit more personal and you can try that out in option settings. But let's get into pitching. There is also a best and worst input for pitching, and pure analog is how most of the top players play the game. A little worse than pure analog is meter pitching, and then less than that is pulse, and then the worst is classic. Now again, this is just for if you're trying to compete at the highest levels. So you can start with classic for sure, and try to learn how some of the pitches move and things like that, just like hitting. But eventually you want to work your up from classic to pulse to meter to analog, and you could go straight from classic to analog, but if you want to take a few steps to get there, that works too. And for pitching on the camera side, you can pretty much use anything but broadcast. A pitcher or anything on the hitting side is pretty good. It's not the same as hitting where you really need to control the zone. Really, you just want something that gives you a good perspective and something consistent. And for the pitch ball marker, you want the pitch trail on or classic on so that you can see where the ball is going to land. Now for fielding, there's buttons, button accuracy, and pure analog. Try to stay away from buttons if you can. At the beginning, it'll probably be fine, but you're going to end up having errors just determined by the computer. So if you want to play online, that's going to be tough as well. So you want to be using button accuracy, which is the most popular. Personally, I use pure analog, which I find to be better, but it is a little bit harder. And I don't know how well it's going to play in MLB 19. But come back for a future video if you want to see more details on that. And also turn on throw canceling, and one button dive/jump should be off. Throw canceling will help a lot online for people that are trying to exploit base running, and it'll help you make quicker decisions on the field. So those are some of the best settings that you can use. A lot of them are geared towards online, but I wanted to show what you can kind of start with and then move towards so that if you ever try to be competitive, you'll know where you want to go. And finally, let's talk about some of the features that help enhance your experience. First of all, we have the community market where you can buy and sell cards with other players. So you can put in buy orders and hope someone sells you a card at a lower cost, or you can put in sell orders and hope someone wants a card immediately but for a higher price. And just remember that every sale has a 10% tax, so you're going to see a little bit of a cut taken out of it. I may do a video on how to play the market for beginners, but there's a lot of good information out there from people that play the market a lot better than me, so make sure you check those out. Just give it a search when MLB 19 actually drops. Now we also have an inventory to see what you have in your collection. And this is pretty self-explanatory, but I want to mention that there is something called a no sell icon, and you'll see it with a little cell and a cross through it on the side of your card. And it means that it's locked into your collection, or you earned it in some exclusive way, and you basically cannot sell it on the market. But you can quick sell these cards, and in your inventory you can go and click on a card and you can see what the quick sell value is and quick sell duplicates very quickly. Generally that's only recommended for when you have a bunch of no sell cards. Now there's also a vault section here for logos, rosters, players, and sliders. And basically it gives you access to creations of other players who wanted to share their work. Operation Sports Full Minors OSFM is a popular roster that includes minor leaguers. So look out for Riding Down Kingsley. He's usually got the OSFM rosters, and it's really good for people that like to play franchise and rebuild with real life rosters. Since MLB The Show doesn't have minor leaguer rights, it's a little bit hard for them to have them in the game, so that's why OSFM is so popular. Now there's also a game history that lets you see every game that you've played and a lot of good info from each of them. There's also a media section which shows you some announcements, news, and the Twitter. Not super useful, but it is there. Now on this page you also have a create and edit player, so it's like creating a Road to the Show player that you can import into a roster or export to the vault. And from there, you can control the roster, edit players in a system or move players to new teams, create custom rosters or edit them as trades happen. But just so you know, roster updates are downloaded every week automatically, so you don't need to change the live rosters. But if you do download a roster or created your own, you could load that roster back up and make changes to it. Just know that when you start a save file for franchise or Road to the Show, you cannot go back and change it. So you'd have to upload a new roster to a new save file, so it gets a little bit tricky, but I just wanted to make sure you're aware of that. And if you want to use those rosters for one of those modes, so you can select use save roster before starting a new save file from Road to the Show or franchise, and it'll let you use a downloaded or edited roster. And the final thing we have in MLB The Show is Sounds of the Show, and it's got a jukebox so you can add or remove the default songs from the soundtrack. You can even import MP3 files to have them play in the game on your playlist. And you can also import sounds to use for walk-up songs, stadium sounds, etc. And in 19, there'll actually be collectibles for those. So you can get them from the community market and just plug them right into the game. So hopefully that covers everything in MLB The Show, and hopefully a lot of the new stuff, the new modes at least for MLB 19. I've done a couple other videos to recap what San Diego Studio has told us is going to be in MLB 19, so check out those videos as well. And I'm assuming if you watch this whole video, you are new to MLB The Show franchise, so make sure you hit the subscribe button because I've got a lot of tips for new players and intermediate players on how to play the game and a lot of the news that's been coming out. If you want to know more about Diamond Dynasty, I will be doing a new video about that as soon as MLB The Show 19 drops, and we get all the little details. I'm going to talk about the different modes and also some of the best cards and ways that you can play the game to have the most fun. And I'll also be doing a video on how to play the game online and get wins much more quickly because there is a little bit of a learning curve, and if someone helps you out with that, it can really enhance your experience. So I hope this video was helpful to you. So if you did like it, give it a thumbs up, and I hope to see you soon. Peace.